State regime media, which calls itself Fox, is crashing down on air. They had to deal with Donald Trump giving himself fake awards, fake peace prizes. Trump regime is collapsing and crashing, so let's just talk about what state regime is doing. They've got one of their chief propagandists, Jesse Waters, attacking California Governor Gavin Newsom for, you tell me what they're even talking about here. Here, play this clip.
Have you ever seen a man sit like Gavin Newsom?
Weak, dainty men that have weak policies that create disasters of states. Yes, that is such a pathetic pose, Jesse. I do not see boss men, especially not President Trump, sit like that.
Yeah.
And before I share more clips of state regime media utterly collapsing, just a reminder, subscribe to the MeidasTouch YouTube channel. We're on our way to 6 million subscribers, and you've seen state regime media attack me, attack our network. Trump's attacked us this week. We're leading independent media. We need more independent media voices. So please, if you can, hit subscribe. You may think you're subscribed, but you may not actually be subscribed. All right, let's get back into it. Then you have Laura Ingraham, another Fox propagandist, and she's like, as a Kennedy board member, I can tell you that I enjoy Donald Trump having fun and having the head of FIFA give him a fake Peace Prize award. How great is it that he got fake Peace Prize medals? Here, play this clip.
Now, as a Kennedy Center board member, I was really happy not only to see the president having fun and being celebrated, he was honored actually with the first FIFA Peace Award. And they had this lead up video, which was incredibly well produced. And even I had forgotten how many wars, how many conflicts Donald Trump has helped end. And I've decided, by the way, as a side note, that FIFA's president, Giannini Infantino, is my new favorite human.
And you all know what happened, right? So Donald Trump and the head of FIFA created a FIFA, like the soccer league, a FIFA peace medal, and they awarded it to Donald Trump, and he wore it and started dancing and threw himself a party while the head of FIFA was like, Donald, you earned this FIFA medal. Why is, FIFA soccer, or if you're in Europe or elsewhere, football, why are you giving peace medals? What's even going on here? Anyway, back to Jesse Waters, another Fox propagandist, and he says, God gave us COVID so that Trump could be removed from office and then come back and party and hold sports events and party in the octagon. These people are so deeply unserious. Here, play this clip.
But it is, it's like you get the UFC at the White House, you get the Olympics in Los Angeles, and now you get the World Cup. It's almost like God gave us COVID to kick Trump out so he could reemerge again and oversee this wonderful 4 years of birthday parties, international sporting events, and octagon. If you doubted there was a God,
oh gosh,
this is evidence there is God.
Okay. Julian.
Non-believer.
And then Jesse Waters, and he's saying this on Fox 2, which settled the case for basically $1 billion defamation case for lying about the 2020 election. And Jesse Waters is like, who knows, maybe with the fact that this pipe bomber is a Trump supporter and has been spreading Trump conspiracies, maybe we'll find out that the 2020 election was actually stolen. Here, play this clip.
all this stuff would have just been buried.
We might find out the election was stolen.
That was not in the prompter.
Sure
No, I said stolen.
All right,
A election. That's how Crockett does it, right?
time's up.
And again, spreading election denialism. You see the nihilism on Fox. This is so ridiculous. And then Jesse Waters says, the deep state is still spinning this. They're saying that this guy said that the election was stolen. He did. The pipe bomber guy, the suspect, was a Trumper. It was a conspiracy theorist guy who said that the election was stolen. He was parroting what Trump says. And it also seemed that he was someone with, he was potentially a person with disabilities who was just parroting Donald Trump's craziness. And then Jesse Waters like, actually, I don't even know what I'm talking about here. Here, play this clip.
So the deep state's still spinning. They're out there saying, oh, well, this guy said that the election was stolen. Really? So they're saying that the Biden FBI covered up for this guy? Really? It also doesn't make sense because the guy started building the bomb materials in 2019. That was long before the election was stolen, quote unquote. I don't know anything about this case. I haven't been following this case, but I will tell you this. Is the guy a lefty? His dad played the race card when he sued the Trump administration.
By the way, then a Fox panelist had to admit that there was a lot of small business bankruptcies. Here, play this clip.
We need to acknowledge that high interest rates and tariffs have affected small businesses. Hard stop. We need to acknowledge that. We also need to acknowledge that this subchapter 5 is an easy, quick, less expensive, keep ownership of your entire business, flush the toilet, and move on process. And typically, when a company files bankruptcy, its creditors end up owning the business. In a subchapter 5, the small businesses keep ownership. So there is trouble in small business land around high interest rates and tariffs. That's a fact. And when those small businesses are dealing with higher prices, elasticity is an issue for consumers, they go other places.
So then you had this other panel on the 5, and then Capano, one of the Fox hosts, said, you know, they specifically talked about how this Trump administration had to deal with all of Biden's problems. And that's why it's taken us really long in order for Trump to pursue his agenda, because it's Biden's fault. To which the one, I guess, pro-democracy voice, there may have been two people on this panel, but one of the more normal people on this panel is like, are you just going to blame things on Biden forever? Like, should I blame things on George Washington? Here, play this clip.
To hear us give answers to, we've got a fighting chance to win. So I agree with Stephen A.
But we did in the ninth cabinet, the ninth cabinet meeting that was just held, that was televised. They talked about that.
You mean President Trump?
Yes. That's right. I take back we. I wasn't there. I was there in spirit. But the cabinet members talked about specifically that they were the ones, they said, combating what the prior administration had done to them. What we inherited, that it's going to take a while to like build up.
This is cutting into fan mail. If I'm ever elected president, I will not blame George Washington for anything. You can't keep blaming everybody for, you got to tackle the issue.
We're almost a year in. Like how
doggone George Washington.
And then Greg Gutfeld is saying that, he goes, I'm really glad that Donald Trump won the FIFA Peace Prize because it didn't go to Greta Thunberg. And then one of the other people on the panel is like, but the award was created for Trump. He wasn't competing against other people to get the award. He and the head of FIFA made a fake award for Donald Trump. Anyway, here, play this clip.
It's what we call win-win. And I also love that the Peace Prize from FIFA, it didn't go to like Greta Thunberg or some silly little peace activist.
Because it was created for the president. That's what Johnny Infantino
what's your beef with this?
I'm saying there were no other candidates.
So
it wasn't like
what's your point?
Beat out other people.
Do you wish that it went to Amnesty International or to Greenpeace?
Yes.
I don't understand why FIFA needs a peace award.
Well, I'll tell you why.
Because they're kissing his butt.
Yes.
He's hosting the game.
Right.
And by the way, let me ask you this. Who deserves a peace prize?
No. I'm
deserves a
not
Peace
getting
Prize?
into this with you.
No, you started it with me.
This is not
You're
about
having like 3 conversations here.
You started with, look, he's going around the world basically brokering peace. Why shouldn't he get a Peace Prize? Not that I really care, but
I didn't say he didn't deserve it. I said it's not going to help him.
Why do you hate President Trump?
To get the Nobel Peace Prize. That was my point.
You hear that? That's the sound of nostalgia meeting something brand new. I've always loved soda. It's one of those small joys from childhood I can never quite quit. But let's be honest, the sugar crash and the guilt, not so great. That's why I'm obsessed with Olipop, the new kind of soda that actually supports your health. Their latest collab is so fun. It's the Pineapple-iest soda from Bikini Bottom, a limited edition flavor called Pineapple Paradise, inspired by SpongeBob's iconic pineapple home. It's juicy pineapple sweetness with a splash of mandarin, pure liquid joy, just like SpongeBob himself, and each 4-pack has 5 collectible SpongeBob can designs hidden inside. It's like a treasure hunt. You never know which one you'll get. Collect them all and unlock sweet rewards at drinkolipop.com/SpongeBob. Olipop has all the soda taste you grew up with, but only 2 to 5 grams of sugar per can and 9 grams of prebiotic fiber to support your gut health. Get $2 off a 4-pack of Olipop, any flavor, including SpongeBob, at drinkolipop.com/Meidas. That's drinkolipop.com/MEIDAS. Available available online and in stores nationwide at Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, Kroger, Publix, and more. Olipop, soda you'll actually feel good about drinking.
You know things are bad when they bring on Trump's national economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, who goes, Donald Trump is the greatest communicator I've ever seen. Here, play this clip.
Well, I mean, there have been so many wins to talk about that I think it's just going to be a great time. He's the best communicator I've ever seen. It's going to be a great time for him to go out there and just talk about, like, we could say one thing that we've got 18 trillion in new factories being built, but now we've actually got the groundbreakings that we can report on. And so I think that people are going to be really impressed with the progress that we're making, and it's going to be very, very impressive data as well. And so I think that because the president is on fast forward and he's solving, it seems, all the world's problems, stopping wars and everything else, that it's time now to spend a little bit of time reminding people about all the progress we've made on the economy, and that's what he's going to do.
And then Hassett says, but we thought we were going to be doing better this year, but the government shutdown got us. Here, play this clip.
The thing is that the data are missing a little bit, right? Because of the government shutdown, we went a couple of months without the kind of data that policymakers in the White House and policymakers at the Fed want to see to make sure that they've got a real strong handle on what's going on. We've seen some anecdotal reports, like through the ADP releases, that the job market might be weakening. At the same time, industrial production's at an all-time high. We've got GDP growth in the 4s for the last 2 quarters. And so, our expectation is that the government shutdown had a bigger negative effect on the economy than we expected, but we're going to have a bigger rebound in the first quarter. Against that backdrop, it's a good time for the Fed to cautiously reduce rates again, and that's what I expect that they're going to do.
And then Hassett says, but we'll deal with affordability, but we may have to deal with that in a little bit, but it's all Biden's fault. Here, play this clip.
Under Joe Biden. And so we're making progress, but it's going to take a little bit more time to get the hole that Biden dug to be completely filled, but we're going to do it. We're highly confident we're going to do it. And the numbers that you and I have been talking about this morning highlight why people should be so optimistic that we'll be successful.
Then they bring on this Department of Homeland Security person, McLaughlin, and she's like, and one of the lies coming from the radicals is that we're zip tying children. We're not zip tying children. We see you zip tying the children. How many videos have I showed of people zip tying children, throwing chemical weapons by schools, disappearing people into concentration camps, taking out your assault weapons and pointing it into people's faces, invading child care centers. Like, I've shown them all on this network. People have seen all these videos. Go back, look at my All Hell Breaks Loose series. All this stuff is on tape. Here, play this clip.
And there's, of course, even Christmas not being safe from anti-immigration protests. There was a church in Evanston, Illinois, facing heat this morning for displaying a nativity scene showing baby Jesus zip-tied by ICE agents. The church says this installation reimagines the nativity as a scene of forced family separation, drawing direct parallels between the Holy Family's refugee experience and contemporary immigration detention practices, Trisha.
Children are not being zip tied. This is, again, another disgusting smear. Maria, when does this stop? We've already seen a terrorist attack against our law enforcement officers. We've seen multiple vehicle rammings, probably 1,000 this year. And we talked about the assaults against them earlier, but I really think it's incumbent upon these politicians, give the facts here, because these illegal aliens in our country actually have a real choice. They have a choice to leave the country now, get $1,000 exit bonus, a free flight home, and then preserve the potential opportunity to come back to the United States the right legal way. That is an incredibly generous taxpayer offer, and they should take advantage of it.
Then they bring on this MAGA Republican Congress member, Rick Crawford. He's an Arkansas Congress member, and he defends Pete Hegseth's strikes on the demolished the war crimes that were taking place. And he goes, Hegseth had to do this because they were potentially signaling other vessels in the region. No, they weren't. We know what's happened. Admiral Mitch Bradley has spoken about this. The people were in distress. The survivors. The ship that they were on, the fishing boat, was going east Okay, not in the direction of the United States. It was going in the opposite direction. It was apparently going to meet with a bigger boat where potentially the drugs, if there were drugs, cocaine, was going to be transferred to a bigger boat, not in the direction of the United States. It wasn't fentanyl, and they were not radioing anybody, and they were in distress. We know all of those facts now to be the case. But go on, Crawford, lie. Here, play this clip.
We're dealing with a vile element here, and they were, as my friend Senator Cotton characterized, they were trying to right that ship. It was still laden with cargo because it was strapped into the boat. They were potentially signaling other vessels in the region. We don't know if they had access to SATCOMs or not, but as he characterized, still in the fight. And this is characteristic of these kind of strikes where we hear the term double tap.
But folks, MAGA Mike Johnson wants you to know that the Republicans have had the most productive Congress in history, is what he says. Come on, here, play this clip.
If we stay unified, there is absolutely nothing that we can't achieve. And we've already demonstrated that, this Congress. We've had one of the most productive Congresses in the history of the institution.
Do you need the president to get on the phone to some reluctant GOP members in the House and say, come on?
He's been very helpful at a couple of junctures along the way where we've had big legislation, the one big beautiful bill, the working families tax cut, other things where you had 2 or 3 or 4 holdouts, which I can't afford. Now, remember, in previous years, speakers had 25, 30, 40 seat majorities. I have a razor-thin majority. I have to get every single Republican on most days. And so it takes a lot of work, but we're going to get there.
There you have it. That's what state regime media is doing right now. So crazy. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 6 million subscribers. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to add the MeidasTouch podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts for new updates every single day.